Hey everyone, my name is Joe, and today I'm going to show you how to use the query function within Google Sheets. So let me increase my screen size here a little bit so you can see it better. All right, so I have a standard Google Sheet here, and I have a table with some names, first and last name, phone number, street address, apartment, zip code, city, state, and country. And I think there are 160 rows. Yep, 160 rows of data plus the headers. Uh, so just a tip here, when you're creating a table that has this type of information, you always want to separate out your first name and your last name. And then you also want to separate out your street, your entire address into its individual components. And that way, when you're wanting to query your data, it's a lot easier to work with. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with a simple query. We're going to do the equal sign and hit Q, and it's going to give us a drop down, and query is usually that first one there. So you can go ahead and type that out, or you can hit the tab key and it will auto-complete for you. And then our first parameter is to select our range that we're going to be working with. And so in this case, it's A through I, and I want to select the entire column set. And then we're going to hit comma, space, and we're going to open parenthesis, and we're going to type in select with a capital S. Sorry, my fingers are going crazy here today. And then we're going to type in a star for that, and that represents all. And we can add in a where clause. So where, and let's add in column H. So that's capital H, lowercase h won't work. And we're going to say equals, and let's type in South Dakota. So we're going to open up a single quote to let it know that we're inserting a string that it needs to look at. We're going to type in South Dakota. We're going to close that single quote. We're going to close the double quote, and we're going to close the parenthesis and hit enter. And voila. Now we have everyone who's in the list that lives in South Dakota. Now let's say that you want to order, you want to look at everybody in order by last name. And so that's really easy. All we have to do is come in here after our where clause, and we type in OR order by, sorry, my fingers are still going crazy today. Order by, and we're going to select column B for our last name. We're going to hit enter, and now it sorts all of our names and addresses according to the last name. Now, if you wanted the reverse order of that, you can do that as well. You keep what you have there, you add in a space, and you type in DESC for descending, hit enter, and now everything is reversed. So let's say that you're working with, let's say a dashboard of some sort, and you don't need the full address, you don't need the phone number and whatnot, you just need a piece of that data. So we would come back over here to this star, and we're going to erase that. Let's say we want the first name, which would be column H, or I'm sorry, column A, comma. Let's say we want the last name, column B, and we want the phone number, which is column C. And we hit enter, and it only gives us that bit of data. But let's say that you want to reorder how things look. Let's say you want last name first. So we're going to simply move column B to the front of this list. So it's B, comma A, comma C. And now we have last name, first name, phone number, and it is in a descending order. And these are only the people that live in South Dakota. Pretty handy. Now, one thing that you may be thinking, and a lot of people run into, is how do I go about not having to, or when I want to look at different states, I don't want to type in South Dakota, I don't want to type in North Dakota, I want an easy list that I can look at. So that's easy enough to work in, all right? So we're gonna grab this, And we're going to move this down a little bit so I have some room to work. All right, so now we're going to use the unique function right there, just like that. And then we're going to type in for column H, and we're going to hit enter. And that gives us all of the unique values from column H. So I think there's 47 or 48 of the states in here. So it ends at row 48. So we have 47 states because we also have the heading for state there. All right. And then we want to clean this up a little bit more. We want everything sorted out alphabetically. So we're going to just type in sort here. We're going to go to the end and close off that parenthesis and hit enter. And now those 47 states are sorted alphabetically. Okay. So from here, now what we can do, you know what? So one thing that we've done is we've kept the header in here, and we don't want that. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We could either say our search or our query range is from H2 to H. So that means it's going to start at H2. It's going to leave out this first row, and then it's going to query all the way down the rest of this column here. Right? Or we can come in here. Actually, no, that's the exact way we need to do it on this particular one. I was getting confused with the query function. All right, so now we don't have the word state in here, okay? And so then what we want to do is we come over here to a new cell, we right click, and we view more cell actions, and we go to data validation. And then we want to select list from a range. And then you can either type in your range or you can grab this drop down or this grid here. And now you can select a range. And again, you can either type it in or you can just come over here and grab column K. And this has all of our sorted unique state names. And we hit OK and save. And now we have a drop down box that is just all of our states. Let's select Alaska. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our query here and come into where we had typed in South Dakota. This is our string area. Now pay attention because the syntax is very exact here. So we're inside of our single quotes, and I'm going to type double quote to close out that string parameter. And then I'm going to add in an ampersand to say I want to connect, or I never can say it properly. It's where you join two strings together, right? I've got one string, right, which is our select and where H equals, and then we close that string. Now I'm telling it with the ampersand that I want to connect another string to it, which is going to be cell M1. And then I'm going to type in another ampersand, say that this string is also going to be connected to the next string, and then I'm going to press another double quote to open up the second string. So I have three strings here. I have the select BAC where H equals, that is one string. My second string is whatever value is inside of M1 at that time. And then my third string is the order by B descending. And then I hit enter. So now what it's doing is it looks at cell M1 and it says who lives in Alaska and return the last name, first name, and phone numbers. And we can modify our query just a little bit here so we can actually look. Let's look at the entire data set. Let's take out the restrictions, and just say I want to look at everything. So we can verify that it is the state of Alaska, and there it is. We have 4 people that live in the state of Alaska. And then we can switch this to Colorado. And now we have 2 people that live in Colorado. And so you can do this to help build your dashboards. You can, bring this up and then imagine that all of this information is hidden. So now you have an entire data set, and you can bring this over to another tab so that it's not on the same tab, which is really recommended. So now your data set is separated from what you're viewing. Okay, so there you go. If you have any questions or suggestions, please comment below. If you'd like to know about any of the other functions, leave a comment there as well, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. And thank you for watching. If you would, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up arrow. Thumbs up, not arrow. And y'all have a great day.